Stars, I'm a fool for your love.
Panel and participants, we welcome you to our exciting roundtable today in detailing investment opportunities in the Indonesian mining and refining sectors. Before beginning, I would like to introduce myself as the moderator for this event. My name is Joshua Scott, Managing Director of Tradewinds Petrotrade, a subsidiary of Tradewinds Oil and Gas. On behalf of MKU Services and the Consulate General of the Republic of Indonesia in Houston, I would like to welcome everyone to our forum. We're excited to note that there are participants from several countries outside of Indonesia and the United States who will be joining us as well. We welcome your input and questions after each of the speakers have wrapped up. The ground rules for this event are as follows. First, out of respect for the speakers, all participants will be muted by the administrator while the speakers are in session. Due to the time difference between Houston and Jakarta, we will allocate the remaining time of our program to questions after all the speakers have wrapped up. Please submit any and all questions in the chat box with your name and organization, and we will get to them at the appropriate time. Again, welcome all of our participants. We are excited to hear from our distinguished panel regarding both current and upcoming mining and refining projects in Indonesia. We have assembled a brief overview video detailing mining investment opportunities for 2021 and 2022.
The Republic of Indonesia is known for its abundance of mineral, precious metal deposits among many others. Indonesia produces around 5% of the world's gold production. The biggest nickel reserve in the world accounted for 4% of the world's bauxite reserves. The government is promoting its best mining investment opportunities and has made several groundbreaking changes on the systems and regulations to further promote the national economy through foreign investments, such as introducing a centralized online platform for business licensing, online platform for tax filing/payment, transferable business permit ownership in between mining stages, and many others. The investment opportunities promoted by the government covers various stages starting from greenfield opportunities, mining projects to refining projects. In the mining stages, the government is promoting 3 of its highest potential gold and copper mining projects spread across 6 blocks. Lastly, in the downstream stages, the government is promoting 5 nickel smelter and 1 coal to methanol refining projects, all at strategic locations.
Indonesian government already published Mineral and Coal Law Number 3, 2020, which amend the previous Mineral and Coal Law Number 4, 2009. The new law contains 4 key points. 1. Centralized mining authority. 2. Transfer of licenses and shares and divestment of foreign ownership. 3. New obligation and incentives for mining permit holders. 4. Continuation of operation of contract of work and coal contract of work. The law number 3, 2020 can overcome some problems which were not covered by previous law and can strengthen good mining practices and to assure legal certainty to all stakeholders in mining sectors.
The Republic of Indonesia welcomes you with open arms to invest and be a part of the successful economic growth as we build the foundation towards a better tomorrow.
Thank you for the video preview. Our first keynote speaker is Honorable Andre Siregar, Consul General of the Republic of Indonesia here in Houston, Texas. Welcome, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Scott. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and prosperity to us all. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen from Houston, USA. And selamat malam bagi teman-teman di Indonesia, my friends in Indonesia who are right now still with us at this late time. Thank you, my good friend Joshua Scott from Tradewinds Petrotrade, a strong and close friend of Indonesia, and a privilege for me to be sharing this podium with you. First of all, let me greet the 2 keynote speakers who will be with us today. Dr. Ridwan Jamaluddin, the Director General for Minerals and Coals from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. Also, Mr. Nurul Ikhwan, the Deputy Chairman of the Investment Planning Ministry for Investment and BKPM, Indonesia. And of course, Mr. Paul Taylor, my good friend, Commercial Attaché of the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta. I would also like to greet the two other speakers, Mr. Richard Ness, President Commissioner of PetroZ and member of Indica Energy Group, and also Mr. Sony Darmawan from MKU Services LLC. I'm pleased to welcome all of you, especially to this Indonesia Mining and Metal Investment Roundtable webinar. And of course, being the Consul General in Houston, myself and all the economic team, we are in Houston, are right in the energy capital where diverse companies located here and throughout the South Central USA, which our consulate covers. But before I continue, as we speak right now, my President of Indonesia, Mr. President Joko Widodo, will have met with many, many world leaders, and also including President Joe Biden in Glasgow for in the United Kingdom for the climate change conference. And just a few days before that in Rome, Italy, he will just have met G20 leaders at the summit, in which in Rome, Indonesia has taken the baton of leadership of G20 for the next year in 2022. In both these forums, Indonesia, as the fourth most populous country in the world, and it is predicted by 2020, in 25 years, with the US, we will become two of the top 5 biggest economies with an income of $7 trillion for the next 25 years. And as a regional leader and a global player, we'll continue to push hard to make an impact. And of course, we look forward to working with partners like all of you here today. One thing I want to convey also is that let me first share a one-pager of infographics of Indonesia mining sector. It is not complete, but at least it will give you some idea of what the potential you are confronted today as you partner with Indonesia. So far, the foreign direct investment realization in mineral sector in 2021 has reached $4.1 billion. Indonesia's top mining products are nickel, coal, copper, bauxite, and iron, as Scott and I provided for you in the video you just watched. And it mentioned also in the video that Indonesia is the first nickel producer in the world, accounting for 40% of global nickel production, and second producer of tin and thermal coal exporters. Furthermore, Indonesia has 4% of the world's bauxite reserves and 5% of the world's gold reserve. Our nickel production increased around 30% as of March 2021, while global production increased only by 5%. While global usage of nickel is still dominated by China, or around 50%, Indonesia accounts for 12% of the global nickel use as of January-March 2021. The Indonesian government realizes that we still have valuable minerals to be explored responsibly, and of course, our government has made necessary changes to invite more investors. As you saw in the video earlier, the Indonesian government has observed the challenges faced by both authorities and operators, and therefore the authorities made the update on the mining regulations, namely Law Number 3, year 2020 on investment procedures to improve the economic competitiveness. This, I am sure, will be touched by the keynote speaker from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources and the Ministry of Investment. Mining, including quarrying, contributes around 6% to our GDP in 2020, and all ranked 5th as the top contributor to the Indonesian GDP. Our top is from manufacturing, which is number 1, and agriculture and forestry and fishing as number 2 contributors to the GDP. Therefore, the mining sector has been one of the key sectors contributing to our economic growth over the many decades, and it has still plenty of room for growth. This sector, which mostly operates in remote areas in Indonesia, is now becoming a major contributor to local communities, not only for development, growth, but also for employment, local businesses, and more than that, establish more foreign partners. Therefore, by investing in Indonesia mining sector, you will not only contribute to the welfare of our local communities, you will become part of Indonesia's great growth towards 2045. And hence, by investing in Indonesia, you will be shareholders in Indonesia's growth of $7 trillion of the mining sector, which is at least $350 billion projections for the next 25 years. As for the 552 participants today, that means 52 of you will be part of this $350 billion development opportunity. And at least it will mean that some of you will be in the front of $15 billion potential projects for the next 2 decades. Last but not least, in pursuing this, the Consulate General of Indonesia is here to facilitate you We're here to make history. And I hope that for the next 25 years, Scott will meet many of our friends here who are present today. We'll be watching how today's meeting will encourage greater investment partnership between the great countries of Indonesia and the US of A. Thank you very much. May God bless us all. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much for the opening remarks, Consul General. Our first speaker is Mr. Paul Taylor, Commercial Attaché, U.S. Government or U.S. Embassy in Jakarta. Thank you, sir, for taking the time to join us this morning. The floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Can I do a quick mic check just to make sure that my audio is coming through okay?
I can hear you fine. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Great, thank you, Joshua. And thank you to Consul General Sirigar. I'm extremely pleased to have an opportunity to join my distinguished colleagues in today's roundtable discussion of opportunities to expand the cooperation between Indonesia and the United States in the metals in the mining sector. Our two countries, of course, have a long history of collaborating on minerals exploration and extraction. The Grasberg mine in Papua, operated by US-based Freeport, is of course an obvious and very visible example of that collaboration, and a successful example as well. Now, almost 50 years after the opening of Grasberg mine in 1973, the mine continues to be one of the world's most productive and sustainable mining operations. I note a couple representatives from Freeport are joining us today. Their operations are a great example of the way the US and Indonesia can continue to work closely together in the mining sector. Freeport, I might add, has contributed billions of dollars to Indonesia's economy over the years and has helped to foster economic growth and has improved the lives of Papuans and really all Indonesians. I'm always pleased to see the many examples of the way that Freeport is giving back to the community here in Indonesia through training programs and through environmental sustainability efforts that they're making at their mine and elsewhere in Indonesia. I had the pleasure of visiting Surabaya just before COVID and visiting the site of their the smelter operation that's in the works. Just a great company to work with and a real pleasure and a good example of what America is doing in Indonesia. As the trade attaché at the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta, I have the distinct pleasure of working with a wide range of U.S. companies seeking opportunities in Indonesia's mining sector. My office's role at the U.S. Embassy is to foster greater commercial engagement between the United States and Indonesia. While we're particularly focused on assisting U.S. companies with their pursuit of export opportunities, we know that our work is built on investments by U.S. firms and partnerships with local partners here in Indonesia, both in the private and the public sector. Joshua, if I have a PowerPoint presentation, is that available?
I think we just put it in the folder, so.
No worries if it's not. It may be coming up here. I wanted to just run through very briefly, particularly for the U.S. companies that are joining us today. And if I have about 8 slides or so it'll be relatively quick. You can stay right there for just a second. I wanted to run through the services and the supports that our office here in Jakarta can provide. So just as a quick introduction, I am the commercial attaché at the U.S. Embassy. My staff and myself are here to provide really a bridge between U.S. companies that are seeking opportunities in Indonesia across all industry sectors tonight, particularly, of course, in the mining sector, but to act as a bridge between U.S. companies and their Indonesian partners, both within the Indonesian government and within the private sector here in Indonesia. We have we cover 76 markets around the world, from very large markets like China and India to smaller markets in Europe and sub-Saharan Africa. Indonesia is certainly one of our largest and one of our most active markets around the world. We have 15 staff, 6 client-facing staff at the embassy in Jakarta, that serve our clients on a daily basis, guiding them on how to do business in Indonesia and how to find the right partners. Could you move to the next slide? The United States is very underrepresented. It might be a friendly way to put it, when it comes to competing globally, particularly in exports. You'll see these numbers, just a few countries selected worldwide. Germany, 47% of Germany's GDP is driven by exports. Probably not terribly surprising. Our most similar country, our nearest neighbor, Canada, far outpaces the United States when it comes to an export-driven economy. Our responsibility, our obligation is to increase the amount of export activity that the United States has contributing to its economy. And I might add that those exports are not necessarily goods being put in a container and shipped to an overseas market. Oftentimes these exports are services, the types of services that can contribute to mining operations around the world. Might be material and goods that go into mining operations, but it could also be consulting services and other value-added services that would increase the capacity of Indonesia to improve and expand its mining sector. Can you move to the next slide, please? So we counsel we work with our clients really through these four sort of pillars, and I'll go over this very quickly. And this, of course, is most important for the U.S. companies that are joining us tonight that might be just beginning to understand the opportunities in Indonesia. We counsel our clients and help them understand the right markets. We do market intelligence that is oftentimes market research. Some of it directly targeted at our clients' needs, other more general. We provide business matchmaking services, and this is really oftentimes the bulk of the work that we do. A U.S. company comes to us looking for a partner in the mining sector, and this could potentially be an investment partner as they begin their business operations in Indonesia. Our staff here in Jakarta will work with our clients and identify the most qualified and the best match for their business operations and facilitate an introduction to those Indonesian companies. And finally, we work through our channels at the embassy with the Indonesian government to conduct commercial diplomacy, to advance the interests of the United States, and to strengthen our commercial relationship with Indonesia. Can you move to the next slide? I'll skip through these very quickly. These again are our four pillars, really counseling our companies. As I mentioned, only 12% of the United States' GDP comes from exports. We're not an export-driven economy, and that means that many U.S. companies do not really fully understand how to begin finding the right partners and to begin operations in a new market, and we work with them. Go ahead, next slide, please.
I don't know who's here.
Our market intelligence work, oftentimes you'll find a lot of this on our website, and you'll see our website I believe I'm gonna have to move my, down in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see a number of our websites. And at my last slide, you'll see the website for our Indonesian office. Many of these market intelligence reports you'll find on our website, and the mining sector oftentimes is a key target for us when we're producing some of these market research and market intelligence reports. So I would encourage you to visit our website at the end of tonight's presentation. The next slide, please. And so again, this is really a very key part of the services that we provide to U.S. companies. And for the Indonesian companies joining us, I would encourage you to reach out to us in the coming days and connect with us. You are the type of target company that we're looking for to introduce our U.S. clients to. Our U.S. clients come to us now, of course, oftentimes it's virtual, but pre-COVID, it would be in person. They would arrive in Indonesia, and we would set up several days worth of meetings with potential and qualified candidates in Indonesia. So if you are an Indonesian company and you're interested in connecting with our U.S. clients, please reach out to us, and you'll have our contact information at the end of the presentation. The next slide, please. So we also do in more normal times when travel is a little bit easier to accomplish, we support and sponsor a number of trade events. In the coming year, really probably beginning of 2022, you'll see an upsurge and a return to the trade missions that we sponsor. These are U.S. Inbound trade missions coming to Indonesia, typically organized around specific industry sectors. So do stay in touch with us, and there'll be many opportunities for the U.S. companies that are joining us to meet the right Indonesian contacts, and for Indonesians to meet U.S. companies that are coming to your market and looking for opportunities. Okay, the next one, please. Next slide. Commercial diplomacy. This is, of course, kind of a key pillar for us. We are an important and integrated part of the U.S. Embassy, the country team here, and we use many of the diplomatic tools from the ambassador on down to advance our interests in Indonesia, to work closely with our Indonesian partners in the host government here, and to identify ways that our two countries, our two economies can work much more closely together. Next slide, please. And you'll see our contact information. So myself and Mario Simanjuntak, and I believe Mario is with us, joined us this evening. You'll see our contact information, our email addresses, and our phone numbers. Please do feel free to reach out to us. I want to stress that both Mario and my job is to assist in integrating our two economies more closely, to find ways that U.S. companies can work together in the mining sector and across other sectors, but can work together more closely to increase economic activity here in Indonesia and in the United States. And also take note, down in the lower right-hand corner of this slide, you'll see our website. Please do visit our website. You will find much of the market research information that I mentioned, and you'll also find additional resources and additional contact information that could help you. I'll be very pleased if a few of you do reach out to us in the coming days, and I look forward to continuing to support the U.S. mining sector and its integration into Indonesia's mining activities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul. Personally, we have experience, our company has experience with your office, and we found you to be very helpful, especially for American companies who are either new to the country or new to other countries, in that matter, where you guys are present. So we thank you so much for your input.
Great, thank you. And I'm pleased to hear that you've had a positive experience with our organization.
Just briefly, Paul, if I may, Scott, again, it's a pleasure to be working with the embassy. We're both working in partnership. And I think, if I may just add, Scott, before we invite the senior official from the energy department, I think Paul struck the nail on the head there, that Indonesia is so large and America is so large, and yet we are so modest in our partnerships. And as I mentioned previously, that both of us are projected to be two of the top 5 biggest economies in the world, and yet I see from Paul's presentation, apart from Freeport, there's much more that we can do. So I'm looking forward to from the embassy and from my consulate general to work with Paul's team. I see there you have a Batak on board, Mr. Mario Simanjuntak. You know what that means, Paul? That makes Scott and I your actual brothers. And here we have 52 participants. I really hope you will find this time to see how U.S.-Indonesia relations can be even deeper in economic relations, because as I always say in other meetings, if we're not going to work together, we'll be working with other partners in the region. And we've been doing that ignorantly, obliviously, and I hope with Paul here and myself and friends from the embassy, we can make it easier for you. And I think, Scott, with your experience, you probably know that sometimes it's not easy, but once you have that relationship, you can see Scott still reminiscing all his memories in Indonesia. What do you think?
Absolutely. Your office has been tremendously helpful, especially the U.S. Commercial Service. And so we're very thankful for the opportunity to have worked with you guys in the past. Fortunately, we've been entrenched now in Indonesia for 35 years. And so we have our footing, but not all U.S. companies can have had that opportunity as of now, and they can obviously utilize your service to help them get adjusted. One
sure.
question for you, Paul.
I might add the Ambassador Kim, Sung Kim, the U.S. Ambassador to Indonesia, very clearly and very often outlines his priorities as ambassador. He's been in office now. He's been at the embassy for about a year and has at least a couple of years more to go. His number one priority, without any question, is to increase bilateral trade between Indonesia and the United States. We sit right now at about $30 billion, which I don't, this may sound bad, but that's embarrassing. But the United States and Indonesia really should realize that we can do better than that. Two of the largest economies in the world, and we're trading only at $30 billion a year bilaterally. We can do better, and at the embassy, that is our number one priority.
Amazing, Paul. So, Scott, before we find ways to embark for the next 25 years, as I mentioned earlier, President Biden and President Jokowi met, and they're exploring ways to deepen the relationship. There are many regional dynamics where Indonesia and the U.S. are strong partners, but we can be further partners with that one. And as the video presents with this new law number 3, which our next speaker, Scott and Mr. Sugeng, will update us on this opportunity. This law 3 will make it easier for Americans to partner with Indonesia, so that not only companies like Freeport and those other companies will benefit in our partnership, but with Paul, hopefully before you end your tenure with Mario, you will see a great increase in the next 2 years. Just briefly, Paul Taylor, you do know that your name is analogous to the saxophone player, so in smooth jazz. So I do hope mining and music will be one of our strengths here. But as you said, our relationship is still too modest. I hope that we can kick off today. But with that, I think the organizers want us to have a virtual photo together. Absolutely. Before some Indonesians call it a day at 10:30. So I'll let the organizers inform us how you're going to do it. I think everybody is invited to present to them, to the screen, their handsome and beautiful faces with the wonderful backgrounds. Again, hopefully we'll all remember in the next 25 years, this day, we kicked off something with MKU, and Pak Dudi here is in Houston making this all work. So I can see Pak Sugeng, your handsome face is clear, and Pak Alvin, please show your faces so that we can remember this day. Thanks so much. Go ahead, Scott.
We would like to now present our next speaker. Is okay. Dr. Ridwan Jamaluddin was unable to attend at the moment. He's at the G20 currently. So we have Dr. Sugeng, the Director of Mineral Enterprises and Development for Indonesia. Welcome, sir.
Welcome, Pak Sugeng.
Okay, thank you, Pak Scott. Selamat ketemu lagi, Pak Andre Omar.
Great to see you, Pak
Saya
Sugeng.
dulu di Den, ya.
Small world.
Excellency Consul General of the Republic of Indonesia in Houston, Texas, United States of America, Pak Andre Omar Siregar, distinguished Deputy Chairman for Investment Planning, Ministry of Investment, Indonesian Investment Coordinating Board, Pak Nurul Ikhwan, distinguished Commercial Attaché, U.S. Embassy in Jakarta, Pak Paul Taylor, distinguished speakers, moderator, and the audience at Indonesia Mining and Metal Investment Roundtable. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, our colleagues in United States, and also good evening, our colleagues in Jakarta. Maybe peace and blessing be upon us. First and foremost, let us praise and thanks the Almighty God for His blessing and mercy that have allowed us to gather here at this moment. The Indonesia Mining and Metal Investment Roundtable, I would also like to say thanks to Pak Brindan Kelly from the United States Department of Commerce, and also Pak Paul Taylor from United States Embassy in Jakarta, who have assist us in promoting the bilateral economic relationship between United States and Indonesia businesses. Since Pak Dr. Ridwan as mentioned before that he is in the COP, he asked me to deliver his message. Ladies and gentlemen, to start with, I would like to illustrate the role of Indonesia mineral and coal in the world. Indonesia is already well known as the biggest archipelagic country in the world. It spans from the Sabang on the west and to the Merauke on the east. Consists of more than 17,000 islands, which cover area 7.1 million square meter. From that, Indonesia has been blessed with sizable mineral resources. Looking at the abundance of potential mineral resources deposit, the government of Indonesia is striving to improve its investment, including the mining industry. Next slide, please. In the context of improving the investment climate in mining and industry, the government of Indonesia already enacted Law Number 3, 2020, which transforms the previous mining law. Urgency of the enactment of Law Number 3, year 2020, first is to overcome some problems which were not covered by previous law, and then to strengthen good mining practices, and also to assure legal certainty to all stakeholders in mining sectors, which cover 4 key points. First, centralized mining authority, and the second, transfer of licenses and shares, and also divestment of foreign ownership. Number 3, obligation and incentive for the mining permit holders. Number 4, continuation of operation of contract of work, and also coal contract of work. Indonesia mining investment opportunity also have comparable advantages. To begin with, Indonesia supersedes as the leading country with abundant ore reserves, hold a strategic role in the global market, is home to veteran operating companies, competitive cash costs, excellent environmental and safety standard, and has an abundance of highly skilled engineers. Based on USGS data 2020, Indonesia plays a strategic role in the reserve as well as supply of mineral and coals to the world markets. This is already mentioned by Andre Omer before. Nickel, bauxite, copper, gold, tin, coal, and there are some rare element as well. From a mineral and coal reserve perspective, Indonesia has significantly contributed toward the world supply and demand chains for materials such as nickel, bauxite, copper, gold, tin, and coal. In addition to being the leader of the mineral and coal supply industry, Indonesia is an ideal place to grow investment because it offers world-class mining operators, among which have been in the business since 1967. The requirement to increase value-added product has propelled the establishment of smelter and refinery plants within the country. For example, for nickel, we already have 292 operating mining licenses, and also 12 smelter plants already in operation. For the bauxite, there are 98 operating mining licenses and 2 smelters are already in operation. Copper, 24 mining licenses, 2 smelters. Gold, 142 operating mining licenses, 1 refinery. Tin, quite a lot, 537 operating mining licenses, as well as 19 smelters are already in operation. Based on the value-added policy, Indonesia is now wide open for businesses. We welcome investors to be part of the transformation of Indonesia and to become an important part of the global supply chains. While we now have many mining companies in operation, we still need to increase the refining capacity within the country. Therefore, there are wide open opportunities for investors to invest into the downstream part of the industry for commodities such as nickel, bauxite, copper, gold, tin, and coal. Ladies and gentlemen, geographical location, skilled human resources, and competitive energy prices is what makes Indonesia a very reasonable place for mineral production for a production cost perspective compared to the global average production cost. For example, it costs 3.6 to 3.8 US dollar per pound in order to produce nickel compared to $5 per pound of global cost. This pattern is also true for the production cost of alumina, copper, gold, and tin. This makes Indonesia an ideal place for promising return for investors. In terms of mining operation, Indonesia requires high standard in environmental protection compliance by implementing environmental permits, reclamation, and post-mining duties. Leasehold of forest area license and enforcement of high mining safety standard to reach a zero accident goal. The government has provided the norms, standard, procedure, and criteria in managing mining safety, as well as performing training and monitoring of mining companies. The workforce of Indonesia is young and highly skilled. There are more than 23,000 readily available engineers consisting of approximately 10,000 workers with technical mining backgrounds, more than 1,000 workers with technical metallurgy, materials, and chemistry backgrounds, more than 3,000 workers with geophysics background, and for the geology background, there are more than 8,000 workers. Ladies and gentlemen, by looking the highly potential of mineral and coal, government of Indonesia encourage and provide huge opportunity for mineral and coal exploration activity and investment as well. Government endeavors in boosting exploration and investment by giving certainty of law and guarantee of doing business for mining companies. Mining companies are required to carry out the further exploration in their mining area. Giving exploration assignment to the state research institution and the other companies to prepare mining areas. Encouraging junior mining companies as an exploration specialist company to apply for the exploration assignment and participate in the wilayah izin usaha pertambangan auction. Promoting the mining investment in Indonesia to the investors around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we can conclude that Indonesia has an incredibly important role in the global mineral and coal supply chains. Also has many advantages of mining investment. The government of Indonesia has continuously put the utmost effort to attract investors and at the same time has improved this ease of investing in the country. This shown by transforming the mining law in the year of 2020. At this opportunity, we look forward for your participation in becoming part of the transformation processes in the mining management of Indonesia and will make Indonesia a safe, peaceful, and rewarding place for your investment. Finally, I would like to thank Mr. Brendan Kelly from the United States Department of Commerce and also Pak Paul Taylor from U.S. Embassy in Jakarta, who have assisted us in promoting the bilateral economic relationship between United States and Indonesia businesses. I would like to thank the Consul General of the Republic of Indonesia in Houston, Texas, United States for supporting Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources and also MKU Services, LLC, who have organized this event for Indonesia Mining and Metal Investment Roundtable. I hope this event will become one of the most significant venues from which we can increase the synergy and investment, especially in mining industry. Thank you. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace and blessing be upon you.
Sugeng, as I mentioned earlier, we have this new law number 3 should make it easier for Americans to be our partners. And of course, the opportunities are vast. Unfortunately, the business model is miners do business with their old friends. Do you think that this new law and both the potential of the US and Indonesia, is there any way that we can enhance it in the next 2 years, Pak Sugeng?
Yes, Pak. We hope that there are many more free port in the future in Indonesia.
I'm sure there are many free ports and other American companies. If I might take it take some ideas, Scott. Participating today is from Bank of Montreal, Philippine Trade and Investment Center in LA. We have the, of course, Indonesian Investment Planning Centers and OCP Asia, Oklahoma Geological Survey, Colorado School of Mines, of course, our good friends Freeport. Again, the Vietnamese Consulate General in Houston and also USA Imports. Great to see the University of Andalas joining us. Those folks in West Sumatra sure have a vision. Let's hope that they can be the pioneers in Indonesia's future mining. And of course, mining companies from the US and Indonesia, which are mentioned here, perhaps later the organizers can shout out to them. I really think that this discussion today is an eye-opener. I hope this law number 3 will entice you. And if you can't find enough reason to go to Indonesia to meet with Pak Sugeng and his team, please come to my office so that I can entice you to meet other people, not only mining people, but if you need to meet with celebrities or hang out in Bali, I'm sure Paul Taylor and Pak Mario Simanjuntak might have a list of activities that Americans can do more in Indonesia, especially that both of us are recovering from COVID. And as the G20 summit indicated that we're now off to a quick recovery. So Scott, Absolutely. This timing is really, really, really good.
Thank you so much. Moving forward, our next speaker is Mr. Nurul Ikhwan, Deputy Chairman, Investment Planning, BKPM Indonesia. Mr. Ikhwan is responsible for designing national investment policy in Indonesia. Welcome, Mr. Ikhwan.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Yang saya hormati Pak Konjen Andre Omar Siregar, and also other colleagues coming from our Consulate General in Houston, and then also other speakers, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and also good evening for those who are from Indonesia. Yeah, it is indeed a great pleasure for me to be with all of distinguished speakers and also with our Consul General in Houston. And we just would like to share with you some information in regard to the investment opportunities and then also the things of supporting investment opportunities in Indonesia, especially for those who are coming from United States. And as a beginning, I just would like to share with you the information about Indonesia, whether or not Indonesia is still interesting for doing investment from any global investors. So this slide shows you about the number of investment realizations in Indonesia from January to September 2021. So we could see here that we have achieved the investment realizations here up to 73.3% for the third quarter here. So it means that we are on the right track, while we are still have a lack of the balance for the next 3 months of achieving 100% of the target, which will be $61.6 billion. And in regard to the combinations between DDI or domestic direct investment and foreign direct investment, we could see that the combination is also quite ideal, because for the domestic investment is 49.7%, while the foreign direct investment is 50.3%. So it is very good combination. And normally we compare as well the investment in Java Island as the main island that is very most populated island in Indonesia, where Jakarta is also situated, the capital city, and compared to other part of Indonesia outside of Java. And this combination is also quite nice, 48.3% for outside Java, while for Java is 51.7%. So it means that the development that has been doing by the government of Indonesia for the infrastructures, it has been giving opportunities for other investors to come across to all other parts of Indonesia outside of Java. And if we could see the next slide about rank of FDI investment realizations in Indonesia, we could see here that all the countries doing investment in Indonesia, and especially the top 20. And for this top 20, United States sits on the 7th rank, while Singapore is always #1. But please bear in mind that Singapore is a hub for any international companies doing investment in the regions of Southeast Asia, especially. So it is also happening for Indonesia. So it means that your company investing in Indonesia through Singapore, this will be recorded as Singapore investment in our Indonesian statistic record. And I just would like also to share with you about the top 10 investment realizations rank from January, September based on sectors. So for domestic direct investment realizations, we could see here that our sectors here in regard to mining, it is on the top 8. And also when we are talking about basic metal, industry, metal goods, and not machineries and equipments, it is also on the 12th. And when we see for the FDI, basic metal, it is even on the 1st, while the mining is on the 3rd. It means that the interest of FDI doing investment in Indonesia for these two sectors is much more bigger compared to the domestic direct investment. And now I would like to share with you the information about U.S. investment realizations in Indonesia. So we could see here from the left side of the graph here, we could see that investment from the United States from 2017 going down up to 2020. But then right after that, from 2020 to 2021, it is increased again. It is increased, and it is also showing about a good interest coming from the United States, Indonesia. And for the sectors that companies from United States interest, the top 5 sectors of them, the first is mining, because we know that we have a Freeport Indonesia company that is invested by Freeport McMoran. And also the second is other services, and followed by food industry, chemical and pharmaceutical industry, and electric, gas, and water supply. That's the things. And also we could see here in regard to the locations, as Freeport is located in Papua. So the locations that is the biggest investment of United States is in Papua. And the rest is in East Java and also Sulawesi. And now I just would like also to show you the graph that is showing about the interest of doing more industry of the minerals in Indonesia after the enactment of mining law, be it for number 4, 2009, and also number 4, 2020. So it shows that the interest after the enactment of these laws, it makes the investment for this mineral processing industry is skyrocketing, even though at the same time, especially for enactment of the law number 4, the price of the coal and then also other commodities is on the same rate of price. And the next one, I just would like to share with you as well about information in regard to investment realizations of nickel upstream, downstream in Indonesia. So this is the thing that is currently becoming a kind of hot topics in Indonesia when we talk about this nickel, because nickel is also leading on the electric vehicles, batteries industry. And Indonesia as a country having a huge abundant natural resources, especially for the nickels, we are having also a very good investment in Indonesia, and especially for the companies doing investment in nickel processing industries. And nickel processing industry for foreign direct investment is having a much better performance compared to the domestic direct investment. And it is not only about nickel processing industry, for the nickel or mining as well in Indonesia is having better performance compared to domestic direct investment. And the next slide is showing about Indonesia mineral potential maps. So it means that it is also explained already by our Honorable Consul General. And we have a lot of minerals that is also very promising for us. The first like nickel for the high grade and nickel low grade, and we have iron, tin, gold, bauxite, and copper as well, that will be lasting for 30 years, 71 years, and also the list is 25 years, which will be very, very interesting for those who are having interest of doing this investment in Indonesia. And now I just would like to continue by showing you Indonesia as a kind of a country having projects and total investment value for the mining project development in 2021. So we are on the 4th rank after China, Australia, India, Canada, sorry, the 5th, than Indonesia. It is slightly better in terms of the project compared to the United States, and also in a value of investment is also better than the United States. So it means that we are also having the opportunity of making kind of collaborations, of taking participations, of utilizing of the mining industry in Indonesia for more downstream industry, while the President of Joko Widodo, by enacting of law number 11, which is a job creation law, we would like to have also more downstream industry of Indonesia economy. And because of this policy, we would like also to invite more investors from United States to come to us and doing a kind of investment in this mineral resources industry. And now I just would like to share the next one with you, also the major project of metal industries in Indonesia. So this is spreading across the islands of Indonesia, starting from Sumatra up to the Papua. So it means that indications about the potentials of this business in Indonesia, it is not only in one island, but almost all islands of Indonesia. But Java is already for services and also manufacturing. We don't have this kind of mining or a smelter. And the next one is potential distributions of bauxite as another also potentials of minerals that we have. So for the bauxite, the shares of Indonesia in the global shares is around 4.3%. And this still have also another good prospects for this business in Indonesia, while Indonesia is also inviting more investment of processing industry for this bauxite to be happened in Indonesia. And this thing could be happen and also could be supported by fiscal incentive for investment. Because of this, then attracting investment coming to Indonesia, we also offer to you fiscal incentive for investment like tax holiday and mini tax holiday. And also we have tax allowance that could be also reducing of corporate income tax that could be in 30% spreading in the 5 years. In 6 years with the 5 years per year. 5% per year, and import duty exemption as well for those especially processing industry and some services. And super tax deductions incentive is also provided by us. And last but not least is labor intensive industry tax incentives. For the last 5 minutes, I just would like to share with you the matrix of project profile in smelter industry based on feasibility study that was conducted by us in 2020. So we have here 6 projects of them. So located in Riau Island in Central Kalimantan, South Kalimantan, Central Sulawesi, South Sulawesi, and North Maluku. And for the smelter alumina refinery, which is located in Riau Island in Karimun, with investment value around 530 million US dollars, with the IRR 9.22% and NPV is around 320.9 million US dollars. And payback period is 11 years. And also we have smelter sponge irons in Central Kalimantan in West Kota Waringin Regencies with investment value of 80.12 million US dollars and the IRR is 9.84 and also NPV 61.5 million. That is having payback period for 11 years. And the best of is for this 6, it is number 5 is smelter nickel cobalt sulfate industry for batteries, which is located in Southeast Sulawesi in North Kolaka with investment value of 530.08 million US dollars. The IRR is above 12%, which is 12.54 with 569 million US dollars of NPV. Then the payback period, which will be only 7 years. That is very interesting. And also another big IRR that we have is smelter ferronickel for stainless steel industry, which is located in Central Sulawesi in North Morowali, because it has IRR of 15.29%. So those are the things that we could provide to you. And we are BKPM and also our office in Consulate General in Houston. We are very happy to facilitate you for any interest and also any inquiries coming from your side. If you would like to know more about this information, we'll be happy to provide this, and just do come to our Consulate General and send also the email to our office or to myself. That will be very much appreciated by us, even though we know that for doing investment in this mining is taking a longer time, but studying from the very earliest, that will be quite beneficial for you. Don't left behind by other countries that they have already been in Indonesia doing this investment, because the future of electricity car, it will be in Indonesia. So take part in Indonesia by doing the mining and also processing industry for this nickel and other metal industry. You are going to be in the next level of prosperity together with Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Partner, for the insight in both the FDI and EDI investments for Indonesia. I do understand that you do have to, you're on your way to other meetings. However, we would like to ask you one question before you go.
Please do.
What have been the effects of COVID-19 on the price volatility on government measures that have contributed to interrupting mining production in your country?
Sorry, come again, Pak Scott?
What have been the effects of COVID-19 on price volatility and on government measures that have contributed to interrupting the mining process or production, sorry?
Right, yes. So for this, actually, we know that all sectors is having a kind of impact into this. But for the situations of Indonesia, especially in the mining industry, and we know that when we talk about coal, a couple of weeks ago, the price of this is also increasing quite significantly, which gave also a very good contributions into these sectors. And on the other side as well, when we talk about these nickels as well, it is also having a very good positions in pricings and then also in the market, and also having a better prospect for this in Indonesia. So I guess for us in Indonesia, this gives also the impact to us on switching and also adjusting of the strategy, whether or not we would like to over this with the combinations of opportunities and also law and also protections coming from the government. So I guess this is the combinations policy that will be provided not only by the government, in this case is Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, but Ministry of Investment and other government institutions, including our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This will also do a kind of socializing of good support of this government policy into whatever situations that you do have. But of course, the volatility will give also an impact to any countries in the world, but we are ready to face it because the government under the presidency and leaderships of President Joko Widodo, it is very responsive in responding of the change, and especially in the term of COVID-19. And this could be shown as well by the way of the government of taking the situations of this pandemic, while we are to be one of the best country in the world having a better tackling strategy of this pandemic.
Interesting, isn't it?
It's very good. The government is encouraging other further investment into the country.
Pak Scott, can I ask about Nurul a quick question, Pak Scott? And again, we're on the same side, but we're on the same side to get more of our American friends into Indonesia, Pak Nurul, yeah? And I think you hit this, you hit the mark there, because at the end of the day, as much as we love our American friends here, others are also wanting to enter the Indonesian market, as Pak Nurul said, the future of electricity cars in Indonesia. And there are many investors worldwide already working in Indonesia in various sectors. So I think it would be a lost opportunity, Pak Nurul, yeah, if our American friends here, especially for me, as I cover 10 states, you will only be listening to our reports in the next 20 years of how much we achieved. Just a quick question, Pak. It is projected that in 25 years, we're going to have a growth of $7 trillion in our GDP, but you didn't mention regarding the plans for the establishment of a new capital city in Kalimantan. And I think that's also a big opportunity for his investments. So even though as much as I appreciate Americans calculating the cost of investing, other countries are already in Indonesia, Pak. Do you have any projections, Pak, with the new capital city, Pak, in terms of investments, and also the potential with the current climate change commitments for cleaner energy and other mining facilities? Do you project in the next 5 years there'll be a major growth in our mining, Bapak?
Yes, indeed, Pak. You are right, Pak. It means that with this new capital city program, that was also I guess during this visit, the President Joko Widodo will also give also a kind of these informations to around the globe. And when we talk about this, in this new capital city, they have so many projects. And for these projects, only some will be funded by the government budget or funding. So the rest will be inviting participations coming from the private sectors, coming from Indonesia and also from around the globe, because we are going to develop the city that will be very friendly to the environment, because we would like to utilize only energy that will be green. And because of this, then we would like also to have and develop industrial estate there that will also consume only green energy. And the transportation's design to connect from part to part in this new capital city, this will also design as a green technology. So Indonesia would like to be noticed for this new capital city as a country that is having concern about the planet of Earth. Then it would like also to make this a kind of benchmark for other cities in Indonesia. And because of this, we are also thinking about the huge potentials that we have in Indonesia for the renewable energy. And we are going also to think of the technology that we are also taking participations into the processing industry of the mining. Like, let's say, the current mostly we are doing a kind of deep sea tailing for the waste management. But in the future, even I have already discussed with one company in Indonesia that they have technology created by themselves, and it is already patented, that they are having the technology for nickel smelting that will be zero waste. This is quite interesting. So it means that when many companies around the globe having a kind of worry than Indonesia with abundant natural resources, while we are not having a good care of waste management, I would like to assure you that in the future, we have this technology and we do care with our planet, and we are living only in this planet. So we are going to make this as a kind of living for the prosperity by protecting of our planet. That is a lot of investment opportunities, especially for the next 5 years. We do guarantee that we are going to open the new information about the opportunities that we have in the new capital city.
Excellent.
Thanks, Pak. Looking forward to seeing you in Houston, Pak.
Yeah, inshallah, Pak. Inshallah. Thank you, Pak.
All right, moving on. Thank you, Pak Nurul.
Thank
Our
you,
next
Oscar.
speaker is Mr. Richard Ness, President Commissioner of PetroC, member of Indica Energy Group. Welcome, Mr. Ness, and thank you for joining us this evening for you, this morning for us.
Yeah, good morning and good afternoon or evening to all, I guess. First of all, I wish to thank the organizers for initiating this forum to discuss Indonesian mining potential. When talking to various mining companies, I always ask a question. If the regulatory and political conditions were equal, which countries would be your top destinations to explore and develop a mine? Indonesia and the Republic of the Congo are always on the top of the list. The possibility for discovery of a significant mineral deposit in Indonesia is huge. Mines like Freeport's Grasberg, Vale's nickel and Sulawesi, KPC and Kideko coal in Kalimantan and Martabi gold and Sumatra are just examples of the type and size of deposits that are potentially available. What has held mining back an investment in recent years were prevailing and sometimes conflicting government regulations. It was not the geology. But now Indonesia has significantly improved the legal framework that regulates the mining industry. And this will be the topic of my brief remarks today. By way of background, my first Indonesian mining experience was in 1979 at Freeport's Ertsberg mine in Papua. I lived and worked at the mine site for 10 years. And during that time, we were fortunate enough to discover the Grasberg ore body and bring that into production. After Freeport, I was hired by Newmont Mining as general manager to develop their Batu Hijau deposit on the island of Sumbawa and place that into production. During that same time period, Newmont had significant exploration programs in the country that I was also involved with. These exploration efforts paid off with the development of the Minahasa gold mine in Sulawesi and the discovery of Martabi deposit in Sumatra. Later, I joined the Indica group of companies, along which owns PetroC, Kideko, and MTU coal mines. Indica is the third largest coal producer in Indonesia. I also served on the boards of Merdeka Copper and Gold that have had very involvement in the development of their Tujuh Bukit mine and Witar copper projects. Over the years, I've had the distinct pleasure of working with various ministries in Indonesian government. The Department of Mines, the Ministry of Environment, the Investment Board, BKPM, have all been very supportive to the mining efforts that I've been involved with. And they have very competent people in the various offices in which they represent. As mentioned earlier, what created some real challenges in certain conditions were the enactment of the 1999 forestry law, which imposed restrictions in mining certain forest areas, and later the 2009 mining law, which delegated much of the authority to the local governments, and they were not that prepared for it. The good news is the Indonesian government has recognized these impediments to mining and addressed them in the 2020 mining law. I highlighted on some of my PowerPoint slides, Indonesia's 2020 mining law and related reforms are very significant. Authority is now back to the central government using a single submission system. This new law also removed size limitations on some of the mining areas. In the past, 2009 regulations, it was no real clarity on the length of validity of the mining concessions. This issue was also addressed in the latest law. True, some mines only have a short life, while others, like Grasberg, have been mining for 50 years with life to go. So it's still, this law now takes into account all the different size mining properties. Okay, the current law really streamlined the environmental impact assessment requirements, as well as eliminated the need to have various permits that keep expiring. Now, approval is just part of the business license process. Also, the good news is now licensing to access and to use forest areas will be part of the licensing process as well. Manpower requirements have now got greater flexibility. As mentioned, the new law provides the ability to access and use designated forest areas for mining. That has a significant potential to really expand the areas for potential exploration. This change has opened up vast amounts of ground that has yet to be explored. These changes in law and regulations further emphasize that the government is supporting the new mining investments in real time. I should mention that in addition to the natural resources, there are now very qualified human resources to assist mine development. Indonesia universities have turned out some very talented mining engineers, metallurgists, geologists. Lack of skilled manpower is a problem of the past, not today. There are a lot of very capable people available in Indonesia for mine development. Also, the mining equipment dealerships in the country are also well established to provide good technical support for mining operations as well. In addition, I want to emphasize that many of the local companies have developed a very high degree of good corporate governance and management expertise. Several foreign investors actually do serious due diligence to choose the local partners up front to co-invest with. Mining is a long-term capital-intensive business, and some of the issues I've seen companies faced over the years have been related to the wrong partnerships. In closing, I guess I wish to thank you for the opportunity to discuss mining in Indonesia, and I would be happy to answer any questions that cover any items in more detail if necessary. Back to you, moderator.
Thank you so much for your input. I do have a question for you, actually. How has the regulatory environment changed in terms of mandatory ESG compliance? And to what degree is there a commitment from the government in regards to the management of ESG concerns relative to your operations there?
Just to be clear, SG is what are you referring to?
Social governance.
Say again?
Environmental, social governance.
Oh, I haven't really seen any problems with it. Indonesia's laws are pretty much similar to everybody else, and they've all redone the new environmental law, which is actually brings it into very common structure with the US.
Okay.
Mr. Ness, really inspired by your presentation there, Mr. Ness. And I think you closed the discussion with a very important note that the wrong partnerships have been the problem all along. I think Scott being one of, and you also, Mr. Richard Ness, once you get the right partner, it's like you're booked for life. I think in today's age, we're much more, well, 2 lives at least, Scott. But I think today it's easier to make partnerships. And as you saw by Nurul and by Sugeng, but more importantly, we at the Consulate General looking forward to making more partnerships. I'm looking forward to Pasoni Darmawan and also other speakers here. I noticed Mr. Tammy Mason, fellow Texan from Pearland, a shout out, and also Mr. Bander. Richard Ness, with today's technology connections, I think it's just a matter of if those miners have the courage to really just match up with Indonesian friends. And you mentioned it also that regulations are like any other country. Is there a psychological gap that Americans aren't going to Indonesia, or is there something that needs to be encouraged for them to reach out? Again, we're fine if you reach out, but other countries are reaching more aggressively to us. What do you think about that, Mr. Ness?
Well, I think if you go back in history, you know, items such as BRICS and stuff that happened in the past scared some investors away. You know, I mean, it wasn't the Indonesians' fault. It was actually the Canadians that were doing it. But some of those things have had, I think, impacts in the past. But I think that's all behind us now. I don't see any issues, really.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Our final speaker for this event today is Mr. Soni Dharmawan, Commercial Director, MKU, who will be detailing investment opportunities from greenfield projects to smelting projects. Thank you, Mr. Dharmawan.
Hi, Joshua. Thanks for the introduction. Before we start, I just want to say thank you to Honorable Mr. Andre Omar Siregar as the Consul General for the Republic of Indonesia in Houston. Also, special thanks to Mr. Paul Taylor as the Commercial Attaché for the U.S. Embassy here in Jakarta, Indonesia. And also thank you to Mr. Sugeng Mujianto from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources for the Republic of Indonesia, and Mr. Nurul Ikhwan, the Deputy Chairman for Investment Planning here in Indonesia, as well as Mr. Richard Ness, wonderful presentation as the President Commissioner for PetroC, also a member of Indica Energy Group. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Soni Dharmawan, and I'm from MKU LLC. And before jumping into the presentation, we are basically representing the Ministry for Energy and Mineral Resources for the Republic of Indonesia. And we are very happy and glad to share with you all the investment opportunities from minings to refining projects and all the way even for exploration in the greenfield areas. Okay, I have a presentation to share. Hold on. Can you see my screen already? Okay, so some of the things that I'm going to mention, I'm just going to give a little bit of glance of what Indonesia is like now. It might sound repetitive, but just to highlight a couple of things. We are basically a very politically stable and maturing country in terms of democracy. We have over 272 million in population as of 2020. And because of our strategic location, we are actually a gateway to the Southeast Asia for over 650 million people, and currently the third world largest market. And as mentioned by everyone, all the speakers before me, 2 out of 3 of the population are actually a productive age and are working age with an average age of about 28 years old. We have a stable economic growth for the past 5 years for more 5% per annum. We are currently at the 7th. We are estimated by McKinsey and Company to be the 7th largest economy in the year 2030. And we have generated more than $1 trillion in GDP. And also, as mentioned by Honorable Siregar, we are a member of the G20, and currently the 4th most populous country in the world. And I would also like to highlight that Indonesia has a very high potential in terms of all the mineral resources. As per mentioned previously, we actually produce about 5% of the world gold production, which is equivalent to approximately 190 million tons. And we are now taking number 6 spot in terms of gold production right after Peru. And we have the biggest nickel reserve in the world, very high potential with the high trade and growing trend for electric vehicle around the world. So you want to get into that. And we are accounted for about 24% of the world's nickel reserve, with account about 86 million tons. And we also are accounted for 4% for bauxite world reserve as well. And with the government supporting a lot of changes, a lot of new regulations, number 3 from the 2020, which gives foreign investors a lot more comfier environment, such as tax holidays, tax allowances, and then some value-added taxes, as well as the online system for centralized payment, for tax payment, for permit transfer, and a lot of other interesting stuff that's happening here in Indonesia. Now, Going to the next slide, I'm just going to jump into the first two, which is mining projects that are in the market, and as well as refining projects. Before going in, all these projects that I'm going to show you everyone here are basically private owned and are basically inviting foreign investors to join their projects and helping us increase Indonesian economy as well, and being a part of it. Now, going into the mining projects, initially we had actually 3 big projects, but one is already taken, the one in Pani, recently taken right before this event. So apologize, but I just want to show it here. These are all gold projects. So 2 projects are located in Sumbawa, just like what Mr. Richard Ness mentioned. It was a previously really adjacent to a Newmont project, which is in Sumbawa. And so basically we have a total of 5 blocks available in the market for gold. 2 of the blocks are Pematang project and Sanmar projects. The status is actually a little bit more advanced. They already know so basically it's copper, gold, and silver. As you can see on the screen here, for the copper is about 37 to 155 ppm. Gold is about 0.47 to 2.28 ppm, with silver from 15.2 to 517.6 ppm. Sandbar project is for the copper is about 28 ppm. The gold is about 2.78 ppm, and the silver is about 185.1 ppm. Now, the second project is actually a little bit more advanced. Instead of the stage, they already know the inferred resource numbers. It's about 15.1 million gold ore tons with 0.2 to 1 ppm in gold. And the reserve number is estimated about 14.61 million gold ore tons with 1.81 to 1.91 ppm in gold. Tanjung block is also the same, almost the same stage as Raja block. They already know the inferred resource is slightly above 5 million gold ore tons with 0.2 to 1 ppm in gold, and the reserve number is about slightly above 5 million gold tons as well, with 1.2 to 1.7 ppm in gold. Seladong is slightly behind in terms of the stage wise, so it has gold and copper as well, so about 0.1 to 0.51% in copper and 0.16 to 0.84 in gold. Now, these are the mining projects that are looking for investors coming in, and we from MKWLCC, just like the commercial from the Embassy of the United States, will be gladly to assist you in connecting the dots and assist you in maneuvering on investing in Indonesia for these privately owned projects as well. Now, going into the next slide is basically we're talking about nickel smelters and coal to methanol projects located in Indonesia. We have a total of 6, 5 being nickel smelter projects, 1 located in Banten, and then 1 located in South Sulawesi, 2 located in Central Sulawesi, and 1 located in North Maluku. As you can see here, some are basically nickel smelter producing MHP, like the one in Banten. The output is about 36,000 ton MHP, looking for investors as well. And the one in Southeast Sulawesi produces NPI, about 200,000 ton NPI. What's in Maluku is actually interesting. It's producing ferronickel as well as MHP. So about slightly above 260,000 ton ferronickel and 48,000 ton MHP. Now, the one in Central Sulawesi is also a ferronickel nickel smelter. Can produce up to 130,000 ton ferronickel, as well as the one owned by PT Arta Bumi Sentra Industry is also producing NPI up to 180,000 ton NPI. Now, the last slide, we were just recently informed, again, this is really top notch and brand new. These are in the works, waiting approval from the ministry, as well as they're still compiling on the information memo. But we have a total of 10 potential greenfield blocks, two nickel mining areas, Acera 1 and Acera 2, located in Southeast Sulawesi, one galena mining block that's located in Lubuk Mas, which is in South Sumatra, and one iron ore located in Ulu Rawas, also located in South Sumatra, and one chromite greenfield block that's located in Lenggora. Lenggora is located right there in Southeast Sulawesi, and 5 coal mining greenfield as well, located in Baronang 1, Baronang 2, Piner, Tumbang Nusa, and Lane. That's spread in central Kalimantan, as well as in Maluku. So yeah, Sulawesi, I mean, South Sulawesi. So these are the potential greenfield that are still in the works. Again, it's not in the market yet for the greenfield, but it's coming soon. We're just waiting for the government to finalize on the license and the approval for these and the permits, as well as completing the information memo. So yeah, here are all the investment opportunities here in Indonesia, as mentioned in the video, as well as Honorable Andre Siregar. We welcome everyone with open arms, and please join us in increasing collaboration between countries, and we're sure it is going to be profitable for everyone. Thank you for your time. And back to you, to Joshua Scott.
Thank you, Pak Soni. When do you anticipate the government greenlighting these projects? Is this 2022?
Well, we're hoping for should be finalized in the next 2 to 3 months. So either early Q1 for 2022, or even as early as Q4 this year. So crossing fingers.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Well, thank you so much as usual.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Probably, Scott, Pak Soni, I'm really interested to hear your statement regarding strategic gateway for our country, those mining locations. And I think Richard Ness was also highlighted here that Newmont was quite a significant contributor to not only the region, but also in the mining industry in Indonesia. And with partnerships like us being more accountable, being more transparent, God willing, with you and us and the U.S. Embassy, we'll have more American friends invest in Indonesia, and of course have Scott return back to Indonesia. And probably, Pak Soni, I just wanted to ask. I noticed that Fakir Chandra from Kadin is with us. So a shout out to our friend from the Chamber of Commerce Indonesia who's joining us today. You mentioned we're a member of G20. We're chairing G20 this year. So we'll be having a lot of meetings, a lot of agreements, and a lot of flexibility. So I'm sure, Pak Soni, we can benefit from Indonesia's chairmanship of G20 and projecting into the future. I suppose just a quick question, Pak Soni. You mentioned strategic location of Indonesia. I know for a fact that the Indonesian government is pushing for the greater Pacific engagement, and also no doubt greater contribution to the Indo-Pacific regional growth. With all of these mining and all these investment opportunities, and Indonesia striving for stability and collaboration, do you reckon that more American companies being in Indonesia will be beneficial not only for both of our countries, but also we can tap other markets like the 650 million that you mentioned that were a gateway to ASEAN, but we've also got the entire Pacific Ocean region, or the Pacific Island Forum people, who, even though they're a small population, there's also a massive investment opportunity that can go there by jumping into Indonesia first, don't you think? What do you think, Pak Soni?
Yes, I completely agree. I mean, our location is right there in the equator. It's one of the reasons why Singapore was very highly recommended previously, because of the economy as well as the location specifically. Now, Indonesia being the country that we are, and we are basically at the door. So jumping into investment here in Indonesia would be a huge advantage, not only for the mining itself, but in terms of obtaining access towards the whole Southeast Asia, as well as Australia even. So especially with the new trend, everyone is going green. The government is pushing for green, as mentioned before by Pa Nurul as well, that we're moving our capital city to Kalimantan, and we're very promoting everything that's green energy. And that being said, with the huge nickel reserve here in Indonesia, it would be a huge miss if you don't come in. And we welcome you with open arms.
Huge miss. What a way to close the statement. I'm just trying to find a way to get Pa Richard Ness and Pa Sony to come to Houston. I mean, like, I know it's a 22-hour flight, but the next 25 years, we have so much potential, Mr. Ness, Pa Sony. I hope we can be brothers. And if you're still not sure about the strong partnerships or avoiding wrong partnerships, you can guarantee that Scott and I will vet any other partners that you're going through. And I see Pa Sugeng is back with us. Pa Sugeng, we'll make sure that our American friends who want to come into Indonesia don't meet with the wrong partners, and we'll ensure that we have stronger relations. I see Pa Andri also here from Dijen Minerba. Great to see you again, Pa. This is very exciting. And Pa Fakir, you're smiling, although your background looks like you're in the Pacific, Pa.
No, it is only a background. And we from Kadin are willing to facilitate the investment between US and Indonesia for the partnership.
Awesome. Thanks, Pa Fakir. Pa Rosan our ambassador will be arriving soon. And so I'll be informing this meeting so that should you need any more reassurances, Pa Andri, Pa Firmanto also will give you a direct line to the ambassador. But we from Houston, we're on the energy belt of the US. Yeah, Scott. Yeah, I mean, like, I hope that we can make your journey to Indonesia better. What do you think, Pa Andri?
Yeah, sure.
The ambassador will be arriving third week of November, I think, Mr. Rosan.
Inshallah.
Yeah. I met him yesterday. So he told me.
That makes you an important part of the visit Houston with Mr. Richard Ness and Pa Sony. What do you think, Pa Andri? Will you be joining us soon to plan out for the next 25 years our mining strategies?
Yeah, it will come to the better situations actually. Pa Omar, Pa Konjen, Mr. Excellency. But I mean, by this great event, actually, we do hope that in the coming next year we will have a very good, strong relationship between US and Indonesia in terms of the mining. Right now, actually, we talk a lot about the rare element with some people in the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta. Then I believe that in the next future there are some corporations to develop the new mining in Indonesia with coming from the U.S. So I do hope, and I believe that we will have a strong cooperations for the next future.
Thanks, Pa Andri. And I think, Scott, I think as much as our friends in Jakarta are happy to work with the embassy, I know Pa Ness and Pa Sony is a good partner of the embassy, but rest assured, you don't have to go only through the embassy. I mean, like, the Americans are such warm people, aren't they, Pa Sony, Pa Richard? So as much as I appreciate and look forward to Pa Taylor visiting us or even engaging with us, how we can get more Americans to be involved in Indonesia. But Pa Sony, Pa Andri just gave us a deadline. So by next year, I think we'll be expecting more mining cooperation. I hope you'll be in the forefront, Pa Sony, Pa Richard. So you guys don't miss out, because while you are the experts, there are many other new players here looking forward to take advantage of this new market.
Yes.
Sure, with your support, Pa.
Absolutely. My team is ready to support you, and Pa Dudi and Scott, of course.
Sure. We can now move to the Q&A section of our roundtable. So if you haven't posted your question in the chat box, or please raise your hand as well and include your name and organization so that we can address those questions. Pak Sojin, are you still here? Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Pak Sugeng, there's a lot of questions here in the chat and also directed to us. So I'll try and help Pak Scott to summarize the questions. One of them is the question of is there any material that can stop these projects from proceeding? And are there any mitigation steps? Example, for existing mining projects, do you foresee any obstacles? Mining areas located in remote areas, Pak, tempat-tempat terpencil. Do you foresee that pandemics in those locations might impede the growth industry there? Pak Sugeng, do you think those investment in those areas will not only affect downstream, but also upstream and downstream, ya Pak, ya? And so the third question is, there are junior mining companies here who want to play a greater role. I mean, like Mr. Richard Ness, in his experience in Fremont and Newmont, are the big players, but maybe Pak Sony might have some new junior mining companies who can be who can play an active role also. So those three questions, Pak Sugeng, any reactions, Pak?
Okay, thank you, Pak. Pak Konjen. For the remote area, Pak, yeah, there are some places, yeah, Pak, yeah, that we how to say it? There are some places that so many potentials in the remote area. Yeah, when we talk about the remote area, we also give some incentive, yeah, for the especially in the eastern part of Indonesia as well as the remote area. Yeah, we encourage the junior mining company to come, and then probably Pak Andri will explain in detail of this scheme.
And we'll take care of them, Pak, those junior companies, Pak.
Yeah. For the pandemic, Pak, yeah, some of our project are affected with this pandemic, but now it's getting better and better. Probably, Pak Andri, you have you can explain in detail in the junior mining company scheme.
Excellent,
Okay,
Pak.
thank you, Pak Sugeng. Thank you, Pak Konjen.
Pak. Pak Sugeng mesti ke Houston kalau gitu untuk ketemu sama mereka. Kalau yang
Ya.
nanti Pak Sugeng harus inspeksi khusus yang ganteng-ganteng juga difasilitasi, Pak, ya.
Siap, Pak Andri.
Pak Andri, respond to Pak Sugeng. Go ahead, Pak Andri.
Yes, sure, Pak Konjen. Thank you very much. If I'm not wrong, you questioning about is there any material that can stop any project that already proceed in Indonesia? I would say that for the existing mining projects, we do not foresee any obstacles. Mining areas are mostly in the remote areas, so that the pandemic doesn't necessarily impact to the industry, because we are a lot of projects in the remote area. So even a pandemic doesn't exist in that area.
That's right, Pak.
And yes, and our biggest challenge is to attract investment for this project. That is why we are doing right now, to let investors know that there are many opportunities in mining industry. And for the junior mining companies, currently we are also encourage junior mining companies to explore more, to discover more in Indonesia. So we introduced the new scheme, which is so-called as new assignment, exploration assignment, for doing the reconnaissance activities. So every private company may allow to to make an applications to find to explore the new greenfield area. So this is a quite new scheme, and we are openly to welcome you all to come Indonesia, to Indonesia for the Jenang Maya kami.
Again, Pak Andri,
Yeah.
it'd be also even more awesome if you visited us in Houston to meet with them, or we can go to Alabama with Pak Sugeng. But you mentioned junior new schemes. That's very exciting. And I'd like to highlight that Pak Sugeng mentioned Eastern Indonesia region. That is the region that we were discussing with Pak Sonia, where it is a leapfrog to West Coast and to Japan and also the Pacific. So I think you're very right. Even Fremont and Newmont has benefited their isolationness in that part of Indonesia. I don't think it'll crowd out as soon as we expect, like Java or Sumatra. But your schemes and facilities will be extremely beneficial, yeah, Pak Nurul, Pak Sugeng, and Pak Andri. So just a quick one, maybe, I think there was a question on the upstream and downstream. You want to go through that, Scott?
There was. Andri or Sony, either one. What is the government's role in terms of providing electricity and infrastructure to some of these remote areas? That seems to be a recurring hesitation, challenge. Yeah. Andri?
Okay. Sonny, you want first or me first?
Sure. Well,
Okay.
Just to add a little bit in terms of power, previously there were some issues in terms of power supply, but now the government is giving a lot of support and improve the reliability for power supply following renovations, enhanced maintenance, its electrical grid, making it faster and easier and obtaining new electrical connections, even with higher generation capacity. So I see no issue happening there. And especially on the projects that are on the market right now, a lot of them are actually adjacent to an ongoing or a previous projects. I mean, with COW contract of work. So that being said, it's not only the electrical, but even the access, the logistic will be a lot minimal than going. I mean, we're not talking about a location dap in the middle of the jungle where you need to take a helicopter to get there. So we're talking about good mining projects located right there with good access, good logistics, and good electricity, especially with the support from the government.
It's very encouraging. Thank you.
I think Scott, also what Pak Sony and Pak Nurul, excuse me, Pa Andri and Pa Sugeng were highlighting was that the potential is there, the opportunities are there, but I think we forgot to mention that as one of the largest democracies, we have a government that's also very commercial oriented. I hope that would also encourage, because there's only growth going upwards in the eastern part of Indonesia, and these mining regions in central Indonesia, they've received a lot of infrastructure support from the government, and especially as not Pak Sugeng, but previous Pak Nurul was saying about the new capital city of Indonesia moving to Kalimantan. That's an expected investment opportunity or growth of at least $70 billion in the coming years. So any investment that goes there only means a positive growth. So I'm looking forward to facilitating any inquiries, as Pa Andri and Pa Sugeng has instructed me to do, to follow up on our junior partners, and Scott and I will meet those junior partners, whoever they may be. Any other questions do you see on the group that we need to highlight? Just a quick one. Mr. Bander seems to be keeping a close eye on the discussion. Mr. Bander from Tradewinds, did you want to make any comments? I noticed that you've been nodding a lot on the presentations. Surely if you needed to say something, we will welcome it.
If you don't mind, I can chime in with this. So Bander is Saudi national.
Yeah, naam.
And his heart is in Indonesia.
Sheikh Bander, tafaddal. If you wish to make any comments, I'm sure our interpreters will be on standby just to listen, and we will try to understand what you're trying to convey in Arabic.
You'll have to unmute your microphone.
Yes, sir, I did. Assalamu alaikum all.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. كيف الحال?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for letting me in. Actually, I didn't have any comments except for the gratitude that I would like to present for you personally, Mr. Andre. And he actually, Josh took me by surprise now when you guys unmuted me. So,
لا بأس تفضل يا أستاذ تفضل.
I didn't have any questions actually. Only the thanks. That will be all.
لا بأس شكرا.
Thank you, Andrew.
العفو.
So Scott,
Questions?
I think this has been a very exciting discussion.
Absolutely.
But more importantly, if the organizers can put in my mobile number there, it's 713-401-7491. My commitment for the next 3 years is to make sure you don't miss out on this opportunity. I'm going to contact Ms. Tammy Mason there and see if I can follow up on our Texan hospitality and collaboration. If there's any other comments, Mr. Moderator?
Yep. I would say that will close the Q&A session at the moment. Any further?
Okay, just add one more thing,
Yes.
Joshua. So for all those attendees, thank you for attending our roundtable. And I just want to put it out there that on the 25th of this month as well, we're going to have a similar thing, but another hybrid roundtable. So you can come in or you can join in via online. It's going to be held in Vancouver on the 25th.
Whoa, Vancouver.
Yeah, so we're doing a world tour, basically.
World tour virtually. We're all waiting for you, Pak.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Honorable Andre Siregar.
Thank you to all the speakers. We've enjoyed all your inputs regarding the investment climate in Indonesia, as well as the ongoing and future projects. Any inquiries from our program can be sent to management@mkuservices.com. And as Paksoni detailed, the Mining Investment Conference North America in Toronto will be, I have listed November 17th and 18th. However, is that good? Okay.
Yeah, there's also one on the 25th.
Vancouver and
Okay.
Toronto.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
So they'll be attending. You want to take the floor, Pak? Here.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's the background actor for all these great events.
We'd like to promote that MKU Services will be hosting virtual exhibitions during the Hybrid Mining Investment North America event. This is in Toronto, Canada on the 17th to 18 November 2021. So if you are really interested in the projects, we can actually arrange or facilitate a meeting one-on-one with the owners of the projects themselves, so whereby you can actually talk to them directly.
Thanks, Pak Dodi. So Toronto, Vancouver, yeah, Pak Sony, yeah. It really means that Pak Sugeng and Pak Andri needs to go to these three great cities, Scott, especially
Absolutely.
through Houston. And maybe I can meet you up with Tammy Mason here, and we can take him to some nice Texan steak. Which one
There
would
you
you
go.
recommend?
There's so many.
So many in Texas. All right.
Yeah. In addition to the other upcoming events, Mines and Money is December 1st and 2nd in Europe, also a virtual event. So once again, thank you so much to all our speakers and participators in this forum. I believe we've all gleaned quite a bit of knowledge here and an insight into the investment programs which Indonesia is attempting to attract. This concludes our program for the day. And if you have any further questions, remember management@mkuservices.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon from Houston. Good night, Jakarta.
Thank you. Good night.
For your love.